Hello and welcome to Running the Table, the podcast where we run through everything on the table in the world of sports. And guess what, Tim? It's football season again. Preseason is right around the corner, and then the regular season will be right upon us. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a series where we cover every single NFL team, all 32. We're going division by division and giving you a preview of each of the teams, some key players, some main storylines, and what to expect going into this NFL season, starting with, of course, our very own NFC North. So, Tim, are you ready to go?
Excited to be covering the NFL again. This season's going to be a blast. Let's run it.
Awesome. I am clearly excited, Tim. So are you. And it only makes sense that we start with the NFC North. I am a Packers fan, and Tim, you are our resident Bears fan. And even though he does baseball, even though he does baseball, Andrew is a Minnesota Vikings fan. So we have
we got 3/4 of the NFC North represented amongst running the table.
I don't think we're going to find a Lions to complete the square because Lions fans don't exist outside of Michigan.
Few and far between.
Tim, let's start with your Chicago Bears. And the Chicago Bears, not in a great position. They went 6-11 last year, but everything is completely new. They started over. A new head coach with Matt Eberflus, a new offensive coordinator with Luke Getsy, a new coaching staff, new everything, new GM, Ryan Poles. He's come in and made a lot of moves, a lot of new additions, but it's the Bears. Their roster isn't that impressive. Justin Fields is going into year 2. The offense shouldn't be that impressive, regardless of like whether he takes a jump or not, because I've heard a lot of reports coming out of Bears camp that apparently that he's made some like massive improvement. Personally, I'll believe it when I see it because he's a Bears quarterback, and that's typically how that goes. But the offense still shouldn't be that impressive because the weapons are incredibly underwhelming. And then the defense should be all right if Roquan Smith doesn't get traded, because Roquan Smith wants out. The Bears front office has completely blackballed the guy. It's take it or leave it offer after offer. And Roquan Smith wants to be somewhere where he's actually valued. So this is a complete overhaul of literally everything. It wipes the slate clean. This year is going to be rough.
Yeah, everything that you listed off of everything the Bears have done new or brought in, I have not heard one thing yet that hasn't been an L so far. Nothing that I've seen has been particularly promising. Of course, with the new information about Roquan Smith demanding a trade, I can't say I'm surprised, but I'm definitely disappointed. I have heard nothing.
Disappointed.
I have been nothing but disappointed so far. Nothing that I've heard seems to be trending on the upwards for the Bears incoming for the season. I mean, they made a small move for N'Keal Harry. He just recently got a bad ankle injury in practice. Who knows what's going to happen with him? Not that excited about him anyway. But yeah, I don't see many games being won for the Chicago Bears this year. What do you got for them, Drew?
Yeah, Tim, you're actually lower on the Chicago Bears than I am. I have them going 3-14. Tim, you have them going 2-15. And that's coming from a Bears fan. So
I've always been a realist when it comes to the Bears specifically and Chicago sports in general. I'm not going to pretend like they're better than they are. I'm not going to pretend like Justin Fields has improved that much yet, or so we've seen. I don't think the defense can win enough games for this miserable offense. So I don't,
especially if Roquan Smith is traded, which he probably will be.
Yeah, so exactly. They just don't get much going for him.
The next team we got in the NFC North is the Detroit Lions. Tim, what do you got on the boys from Motown?
I see them trending upwards. They've got a lot of things that are starting to go in their favor, other than, I would say, the quarterback position. And I think they have enough going on in their team that you're going to see improvement from this team that we saw last year. I like some of their offensive weapons that they're building. The emergence of Amon-Ra St. Brown. You've obviously got DeAndre Swift.
Love Amon-Ra.
Keeping DeAndre Swift healthy is going to be very important for him. You'd like to see TJ Hawkinson get back on a more consistent track. But that being said, I think that they've got enough going with them, and you've seen a little boost to the defense as well with Aiden Hutchinson. I see them winning more games this year. I've actually got them all the way up to 5-12. Which definitely is a bit of a boost from last year. But guess what? I think as far as I can remember, I think they have him beating the Bears both times. So there's a couple wins for you right there.
Well, if we're comparing the Lions to the Bears, it's the bottom of the NFC North. But I, like you, have the Lions improving a couple of games. I also have them at 5-12. And this team is young and hungry. I mean, they're not quite there yet, but it's an improved unit from last year. You have
I think they're continuing to make steps up.
Absolutely are. And these guys will run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is an absolutely insane and crazy human being, but who doesn't love
quite
him?
a motivator.
Exactly. And the one thing about Detroit that I really like is, Tim, you mentioned the weapons of Swift, Amon-Ra. They drafted Jamison Williams. They brought in DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson at the tight end. This offensive line is one of the better units in the NFL, in my opinion. Frank Ragnow at the center, Jonah Jackson at left guard, Taylor Decker at left tackle, and Penei Sewell at right tackle. Those four guys make up a very, very solid offensive line unit. And in the NFL, a good offensive line solves a lot of issues and hides a lot of problems. So I think they've checked off that box pretty well in their rebuild. And if they can continue to improve, I think they may surprise some people.
Yeah, absolutely. They're a team that definitely has a lot of surprises in them. It's just a matter of what team comes to play on any given day and what you get out of Jared Goff, because there's some games where he looks pretty decent. Other games looks like he should not even be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's the next step in their rebuild. Jared Goff, and also fixing that defense, because Aiden Hutchinson can only do so much by himself, and there's really not a lot of talent on this defense. And I think, like, for as much upside and excitement as the offense brings, the defense kind of erases all that. But that's what we got on Detroit. We're going to go to the future, this year's Super Bowl champion, the Green Bay Packers.
Don't get on this again. We're gonna have to come back to it again in another NFC Championship L.
Well,
if they get there,
or divisional round L. Yeah, last year they went 13-4, and in an ever so painful divisional round loss to San Francisco, the Packers fall up short yet again. After that loss, everybody was saying, like, oh, this is the end of the Packers. They're going to, like, oh, Rodgers is gone. Adams is gone. Like, they're going to have to rebuild everything. Somehow, they've pretty much made almost the same team as last year, and they've reloaded. And Tim,
reloaded, yes, but I can't say almost the same team when you lose a guy like Davante Adams and don't actually gain anybody serious in terms of proven wide receiver.
That's true.
But they're still a great team.
It's a lot of unprovens, and the wide receivers do have a lot of question marks. Is Allen Lazard that guy? They've invested in Christian Watson in the second round pick, and then Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver from Nevada, who's been raising eyebrows in training camp. Romeo Doubs' NFL comparison was actually Davante Adams. So do with that what you will. But Tim,
of course it was.
Yeah, right. So it's only perfect. But for as much as you say about, like, the wide receiver court and losing Davante Adams, this defense actually got better, and it should be one of the best defenses in the entire league, because they brought back everybody, and a unit that was surprisingly good under Joe Barry got better. They brought in Devontae Wyatt and Quay Walker, 2 first-round picks that should make contributions right away, especially Quay Walker. He's been doing really, really well. The cornerback unit, the trio of Jair Alexander, Rizal Douglas, and Eric Stokes is really good. Safeties and Adrian Amos and Darnell Savage. The edge rushers, Preston Smith has been pretty good. He was good last year, and Rashawn Gary continues to get better. And, of course, you got Kenny Clark and Jared Reed on the defensive line. So, and what we're still forgetting is they still have the back-to-back MVP in Aaron Rodgers going for the MV3-peat. And I'll be darned if he doesn't get it, because if the Packers are competing for a Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers will play a big part in that, like he always does. And special teams, they patch that up with Rich Bisaccia, the ex-interim head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders, who consistently had one of the best special teams units in the entire league year after year after year. At his time there, you get Pat O'Donnell from Chicago, who's a pretty good punter. Corey Bojorquez is gone. Hooray! But the one question mark that I do have that not a lot of people are talking about is the offensive line, because they have 2 all-pro offensive linemen in David Bakhtiari and Elgton Jenkins. The only problem is neither one of them are 100%. And we're really going to need them because it's a lot of young guys, a lot of inexperience. Granted, the Packers are known for developing their offensive linemen, but without Bakhtiari and without Elchton to start the year, I don't know. It's going to be a little interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like you've pointed out, this team is still a very complete team. Patching the hole on special teams with Bisaccia was a great move for the Packers. I think that's going to turn out. It's going to turn out pretty darn good for them. And one of the things I don't think you even mentioned is they have a really solid running back duo that a lot of teams don't have. And obviously, there's been a lot of talk about an increased role for AJ Dillon and what he can be this year.
As he should. He's a workhorse.
An incredibly powerful running back.
Thunder and lightning.
That's the thing. I think realistically, they're going to be a very solid team that regardless of the wide receiver position and exactly what you get out of them, I think you will be able to get enough out of them. And just with the style of play that you may have to adjust to, you'll still find a way to win a lot of games based on that run game, based on some of that short pass game. You may not push the ball crazy far downfield, or sometimes maybe you will with Lazard over the top, something like that. But I mean, the team is going to be really solid. I have them at 13-4.
As do I.
Partially has to do with their schedule. I think one thing that may end up hurting them, I don't know how much I see them getting like seriously tested with some of and now granted in the NFC, it's kind of hard to get tested a lot. A lot of these AFC teams are going to be tested against each other where we talk about the gauntlet. But I don't see the Packers having much of an issue winning 12 or 13 games. Just given the fact of the overall talent on their team. Rodgers isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
I mean, they do have some tests. They get Tampa Bay on the road.
Absolutely. It's not like they're going to be undefeated.
Play the defending Super Bowl champions. Miami should be pretty good. They get them. So it's not like they play like nobody.
It's not like they're playing
I completely agree. There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't win 12 or 13 games. And I have them running the NFC North once again. And now we'll move on to our final NFC North team, which is the purple incarnations of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. Last year, they were 8-9 and missed the playoffs due to a bevy of different circumstances, whether that was late game collapses or missed field goals or poor head coaching. Well, at least the latter of those has been rectified. Kevin O'Connell is now in as head coach, and he should bring a different dimension to this Vikings offense. You have Kirk Cousins throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook at the running back. KJ Osborne's a very capable wide receiver 3 in his own right. And when you look at the defensive side, they brought in some guys that could make an impact. Zadarius Smith to pair with Danielle Hunter. But the defense needs to stay healthy because that's something that they're not very good at, especially that duo of Zadarius.
Honestly, their team kind of needs to just work on staying healthy. Because also, frankly, I mean, Dalvin Cook had a couple of games here and there with some injuries.
I wouldn't bank on it. I wouldn't bank on it giving the injury history. However, I think the Vikings will be able to compete for a wild card spot, and I have them doing just that at 10-7.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. I see them with the additions that they've made and the new coaching. If they're able to keep guys even mostly healthy, I think they've got the talent on both sides of the ball to win quite a few games, especially just with the overall state, as we've talked about the NFC, their schedule. I think they're gonna be in some close ones. There's gonna be a lot of games where they're gonna have to close them, and that's where I feel like their record could go plus or minus 2 or 3 games. Basically all depending on how some of these games end. But I actually also have them at 10-7, just because I think that they've got enough of the pieces together with some of those additions that they can make some noise here in the NFC.
They absolutely can. And that'll wrap up our NFC North preview. 1 down, 7 to go. The AFC North is next, and oh my God, I can't believe it's football season again, but we'll have plenty of football content coming, especially with the rest of the divisions. So we can't wait to bring it to you. So if you want more stuff from us, go check out some of our other stuff. We got a bunch of sports. If you want it, we probably got it. So until next time, like and subscribe, and we out.